I thought you were dreaming at first, you're gonna wake up. Maybe you still are, let him. But to have him go out like that is so, I don't know, just pathetic.
Guys, this just feels like, almost like Naruto, you know? Some new character come out of the blue and killed Sasuke with a fucking slingshot pebble.
So, my opinion so far, I really actually don't give a fuck about Abby.
Oh no, fuck this. Fuck this. I don't give a fuck.
So, The Last of Us Part 2.
Please stop!
Oh god. If we had to go back to exactly a year ago, this was the game that everyone was talking about. You either loved the bold new direction it took, or just hated it because it felt like a waste of time. While my first playthrough was leaning towards the negative side, it was still a game that I thought a lot about. When I first saw the New Game Plus notification, I had the exact same reaction as Tyler 1.
Play through the game again with all of the upgrades and equipment obtained from a previous. Who the fuck's ever gonna play this piece of shit again?
But now that time has passed, I was curious if my opinions of the game would change. If I'd suddenly have an aha moment where the story finally clicks, or if I realized that my time was wasted yet again. So after playing it again, I didn't enjoy it. But I think I understand the direction this game wanted to take a lot more than I originally did, and at least appreciate areas that I thought was shit. So with that, let's jump back into this depressing game and see it in a different light, or reaffirm its unlikability. Starting with an aspect of the game that I originally enjoyed and still enjoyed is the combat sequences. While it's a very basic gameplay loop, I enjoyed the atmosphere that the game puts you in. The adrenaline rush of killing hordes of WLF members, the claustrophobia of stealthily killing the infected, and using creative methods to distract the Seraphites was an awesome loop to replay. I guess my goopy goblin brain is easily satisfying with killing enemies, so nothing different to report here. And of course, being developed by a AAA studio such as Naughty Dog, the environments, the character models, the cutscenes, and the sound design of this game is incredible. And I think it'll only look better on current gen consoles. I don't think I appreciated just how detailed the environments are and how rich with history with whatever faction made an impact on it. And I'm surprised that when you get sequences that have a lot of action going on, the game doesn't lose that much consistency, so you're not pulled out of the action by, you know, poor optimization. Looking at you, Cyberpunk. And finally, the soundtrack of The Last of Us Part 2 is filled with a mixture of somber, intense, heart-pumping, and anxiety-inducing tracks that definitely helps the atmosphere of those gameplay loops. So, from the perspective of how this game is made, I fucking love it, dude. I think it's one of the best made games from the last generations, and I don't think anyone else can really deny that. I still think that Ghost of Tsushima or Hades should have won Game of the Year though. Just saying. And now, we're gonna stop praising the game and actually get to the shit that people are split on, which is the story. Which I'll talk about as a whole, and of course, spoilers for the whole story. I mean, it's also a year-old game, so I think spoilers will be all over the place. But you know, spoilers, people. The Last of Us Part 2 is a game that was ruined by expectation. Since we already knew it was going to be a story about revenge, the cycles of violence, and all that crap, the game wasn't given much of a chance for its heavy-handed narrative that was just going to make players more miserable than expected. Usually when you have a sequel, it's a justification for continuing the themes or the story of the original, and not everyone has open arms towards a pain simulator. I stated before that I didn't enjoy playing the game, but I feel like that was the point it was going for. I guess the director wanted to take the story in a direction that wasn't too different from the original, but twisted in a way that all the depressing shit is directed to us. Wowee. The first game isn't seen as a miserable game on the surface because we as Joel were doing terrible things, but in service of protecting Ellie. So we don't feel as bad about the actions we took. I know I didn't. It helped that we also knew that Joel already lost a daughter, so we were already in the mindset that we'd do anything for Ellie. Joel was given a second chance, and we as the player stuck with that. However, when The Last of Us Part 2 gives us a story where we have to sympathize with a character that killed another character we cared about, and subsequently play as our beloved character who is losing her mind trying to seek revenge, it's not as smooth as the original, to say the least. And that's not even to say that Joel shouldn't have died, it's just when you're introducing a character like Abby in such a fashion, it's not out of line to hate her for what she did. It demonized Abby that when we have to play as her, it feels like a chore, and doesn't help that we have to play as her for 12 hours straight. At least now, when I'm not experiencing the story for the first time, I can give Abby a chance and experience her story without hating every second of it. And for the most part, I could sympathize with her in how she lost her father, how vengeance took a hold on her life and it damaged so much of her relationships, and even how she has no sense of fulfillment after killing Joel. I think I only enjoyed Abby's story after Yara and Liv were introduced, so it gave Abby sort of a redemption and basically becomes the original game. So it was like a template that I could latch on to better. I still feel that Abby could have been presented better in terms of giving us more time with her, learning her backstory, and even making Joel's death like an impending doom, so the closer we got to Jackson, we can expect the worst to happen. And I think if this game was told chronologically, it would have held Abby's relationship with the player so she's more like a second protagonist than basically the villain. But we got something different, so it's a little pointless to wish. Then we get to Ellie's story, which is honestly just... it's a collection of Burra moments, dude. I mentioned that I didn't enjoy the game, and Ellie's entire arc is because of that. Ellie's pain is felt through her determination to kill Abby, but the more we play her story, the more we find out that that pain she feels stems more from unfulfillment than revenge. We get these beautiful flashback sequences when we see when times was simpler between her and Joel, but eventually we get the big reveal that Joel admits to his lie from the end of the first game. Ellie is more haunted by the fact that she was never able to truly get closure with Joel's lie, and it transforms into Ellie making Abby a harbinger for her losing that closure. Seeing her pain reflected in the hordes of people she kills. I know I said it was fun to kill people, but it's really sad to see her go down the same path that Abby was going through too. They become a double-sided coin, and Abby's release from that dichotomy is when she starts fighting for Yara and Lev's sake. Ellie just pushes people like Dina away because she's still holding on to that pain and can't even accept a peaceful life. Hey, do you guys remember when this was a zombie game? Ellie was only released from that pain when she has that final flashback with Joel, before she could kill Abby, since killing her would just leave a bigger hole in her. It was forgiveness that liberated Ellie in the end, letting go of the hurt she felt, and most of all, forgiving Joel. That whole journey was about this very moment where Ellie has no one left to turn to. And it's quite depressing, but also hopeful. In a sense. The Last of Us Part 2 gave us a story about pain, and overcoming that pain internally is how we can accept the way things are and find hope in ourselves rather than losing ourselves to something like revenge. I'm not here to say that this game is perfect at all. There's a lot of issues, like characters we don't even care about just dying, and subsequently characters that had potential dying or changing in favor of the narrative, and how a pregnant woman was allowed on the front line. It was a visceral experience since I don't play games to feel pain, because shoot me for enjoying games that are fun. And it's not easy to use such storytelling methods because people aren't naturally gravitated towards such heavy-handed story devices. But at least I don't regret revisiting a game that took that risk. We could have gotten a far more straightforward game with Joel and Ellie that would have been received better, but since this is the game we got, I'm appreciative of some things that makes you feel like shit but hopeful in the end. But I'm still never playing it again. Hey guys, thank you for watching right up to the end. I've been a little sick, so if that's reflected in the way I sound, I apologize for that. And I also was really looking forward to making this video because I think The Last of Us Part 2, it's a fucking weird, weird game, but you know, I think revisiting it was kind of like therapy because originally I hated this game so much, but now it's like, you know what, they made this in this certain way, this is their art, let them tell the story they want to and just take the areas that you enjoyed and roll with it. I mean, I still think that this game is definitely overrated, it's not 90% for sure, but you know, I at least can appreciate areas that they actually did put effort into this game for sure. And they wanted to tell a story that wasn't really by the numbers, but a little risky, you know, so... yeah, anyway, thanks for watching to the end. I love making videos on games the most, so I hope that you enjoyed it as well. I know my next video is going to be another Free But Is It Good? I think I've left that series a little hanging for too long, so I'm going to go back to that. And yeah, so anyway, thanks for watching right up to the end. I appreciate you lovely people, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.